There is a moment when nearness becomes heavy, not sharp, not threatening, just full. Words land with extra weight. Eye contact lingers a second longer than the body expects. Muscles brace without instruction. Desire is still present. Care is still present. The bond has not broken, but the inner volume keeps rising. Sensation stacks on sensation, and the body begins to search for edges, not to leave, only to breathe again. It happens in the quiet part of the evening. The day has already settled. Dishes are done, lights are low. The room holds a gentle warmth, the kind that usually signals rest. Two bodies sit close on the couch, not pressed, just near enough that heat transfers, an arm resting along the back, a leg touching another leg. Conversation moves slowly, nothing urgent. Memories, small observations, a laugh that arrives easily. At first, the closeness feels right, reassuring, almost invisible in its ease. Then, gradually, something shifts. Not a thought, not a worry, nothing that could be named out loud. It begins as a tightening in the chest, subtle, like a breath that doesn't quite finish. The skin along the arms grows more alert. Every point of contact becomes brighter, more defined. The other person leans in slightly, not demanding, just present. A sentence is spoken. It carries care. It carries attention. It carries the weight of being heard. The body registers it all at once. The warmth, the voice, the shared history contained in a single look. Shoulders lift a fraction. Jaw firms without intention. The spine straightens as if preparing for impact, though none is coming. The mind stays calm. Affection remains steady. There is no urge to escape. And yet inside, something is filling faster than it can empty. The room feels smaller, not closed in, just dense. The closeness hasn't changed. The connection hasn't changed. Only the internal space has. Overwhelm does not always announce itself loudly. Sometimes it arrives as accumulation, a layering of sensations that on their own would be neutral, even pleasant. The nervous system receives everything simultaneously. The sound of a voice, the warmth of another body, the subtle movements in the shared space, the meaning carried in tone and pause. Each signal is processed faithfully, thoroughly, without filtering. The body does not rank these inputs. It does not choose which ones matter most. It takes them all in with equal seriousness. Muscles respond before interpretation. Breath adjusts before language appears. The system prepares for more than it can comfortably hold. This is not alarm. There is no spike, no jolt. It is more like a glass being filled drop by drop. No single drop causes the spill, but the level keeps rising. The heart works a little harder. The chest feels slightly compressed. The edges of sensation sharpen. Awareness becomes concentrated. Everything is vivid. Nothing is distant. The body is doing exactly what it is designed to do. Receiving, tracking, staying present. The difficulty is not the content, it is the quantity. Too many gentle signals arriving without pause can tax the same pathways as louder ones. Overwhelm here is quiet, somatic, almost polite. It does not interrupt. It simply fills the available space. Timing matters. Proximity matters. Emotional density has weight, even when it is warm. Closeness compresses time. Moments stack without clear separation. A look carries not just the present second, but the history behind it. Shared mornings, private jokes, unspoken understandings. When bodies are near, these layers arrive together. There is less distance for sensation to travel, less room for diffusion. Attention becomes continuous. There are no gaps, no neutral zones. The body senses this continuity. It stays engaged without relief. Even stillness becomes active. Silence carries expectation. Presence hums. This is not anticipation, not vigilance. It is sustained contact, like holding something precious for a long time. The care remains. The hands do not want to let go, but the muscles begin to ache. The system was built for rhythm, for approach and release, for movement between closeness and space. When closeness lingers, even lovingly, the rhythm slows, then flattens. There is no signal that says, this is too much. Only a gradual thickening, a sense of being surrounded by meaning, with no place to set it down. The body does not object. It simply reaches its limit quietly. Meaning amplifies sensation. Attention deepens it. Connection concentrates both. When another person is emotionally present, their presence carries information, care, interest, recognition. Each of these is subtle, but together they increase internal load. To be seen, to be held in awareness, requires processing, not because it is unsafe, but because it is rich. The body receives the gaze, the tone, the responsiveness. It tracks itself being tracked. This doubling of awareness is intimate, tender, and demanding. The system holds one channel for the other, one channel for itself, and one for the space between. There is no hierarchy. All channels stay open. Even pleasure requires capacity. Even warmth takes room. The more meaningful the connection, the less neutral it becomes. There's no blankness to rest in, no background hum. Everything is foreground. The body begins to manage. Micro adjustments, small tensions, a held breath. Not to push away, but to stabilize. This is not resistance. It is load-bearing. Like a bridge carrying more traffic than usual. Still strong, still intact, but aware of its limits. Connection does not disappear when capacity is exceeded. Affection does not dim. Desire does not reverse. The bond remains exactly where it was. What changes is the internal margin. The space between sensation and saturation narrows. Response is slow. The body asks for containment, not distance. There is no narrative of threat, no story of withdrawal, only a need for less input inside the same closeness. This is a quiet truth of intimacy, that even wanted nearness can become heavy, that care itself can fill the system. Nothing is wrong in this moment. Nothing has failed. The body is not rejecting connection. It is signaling fullness, a request without words, for edges, for breath, for a little more internal room. The closeness remains. The meaning remains. Only the capacity has been reached, and the body, still devoted to the bond, waits for space to return. In a kitchen late at night, two people stand side by side. Plates clink softly. Water runs. A shoulder brushes another shoulder, again and again. Conversation is easy, unremarkable. The comfort of routine. Halfway through drying a glass, the breath grows shallow. The wrists feel tight. Sound sharpens. The closeness of bodies at the counter begins to feel dense, as if the air has thickened. Nothing stops. Nothing changes. Only the inner space fills. On a long walk with a close friend, steps fall into the same rhythm. Stories pass back and forth. Laughter rises, then settles. The path narrows. Arms swing closer. The friend's voice stays near, steady, attuned. After a while, the chest feels crowded. The neck stiffens. The eyes start scanning outward, not for distraction, but for relief. The bond feels intact. The pace continues. Inside, something quietly presses against its edges. In a shared room, no conversation at all. Two people reading, pages turning, a clock ticking. The silence is intimate, safe, undisturbed. Minutes stretch, awareness spreads. Every small movement is registered, a shift in posture, a breath across the room. The body grows alert, limbs feel heavy. The stillness becomes full, almost loud. Nothing is demanded, nothing is missing. The quiet simply accumulates. There is a tenderness in this kind of overwhelm. It does not oppose closeness. It arises from it. The same conditions that nourish also saturate. The same presence that steadies also fills. The body is not built to measure meaning. It absorbs it, fully, faithfully. Intimacy brings density, layers of attention, layers of care, layers of shared reality. Sometimes these layers stack gently. Sometimes they stack faster than the system can settle them. This does not divide connection into good or bad. It refuses that simplicity. Closeness can be sustaining and heavy in the same moment. Warmth can weigh something down. Belonging can ask for space without undoing itself. Paradox remains intact, unresolved, alive. People often notice this threshold through sensation before thought. A change in breath, a subtle bracing in the limbs, a narrowing of attention. Some sense it as pressure, others as brightness, others as fatigue without cause. There are moments when the body naturally shifts, a small movement, a pause in speech, a glance away, not as avoidance, but as recalibration. These gestures tend to arrive quietly, unplanned. They are less decisions than adjustments. Over time, patterns become familiar. Certain durations, certain kinds of closeness, certain densities of emotion, not as rules, more as contours, internal landmarks that reveal themselves only by being reached. The body remains present throughout all of this, listening, responding, holding what it can. Closeness continues, meaning continues. Care does not withdraw. There is simply a moment when the internal space is full. Breath finds its way back in its own time. Edges reappear. Sensation redistributes. Nearness remains near. And the body, still inside connection, settles into the quiet work of making room again.